What's going on, YouTube? It's Geoffrey again. Today we're doing another episode of creepypasta readings. And today's the last episode of creepypasta under the name of Pearl.avi. Anyways, so let's get to the story. So we all know SpongeBob, right? The little yellow sponge who's always laughing, smiling, annoying his neighbor Squidward, and just all around being a goofy character with a starfish by the name of Patrick, who is his best friend. Well, now, we have the introduction to all settled. I like to let you know that I have, or rather had, a very rare copy of a SpongeBob episode that was written by none other than Steven Hillenburg, the creator of the show. I was roaming around Nickelodeon Studios in June 2008. Just let me tell you this, that the tickets to get in there were not easy to get. Anyways, I ran into Steven Hillenburg in one of the main areas of the studio. No, literally, I ran into him. See, I kinda snuck into a high security area and, well, I ended up alerting guards and, you get the gist. After bumping into him, I apologized. Mr. Hillenburg looked as though he was in a daze. I waved my hand in front of him, but he continued onward past me. This kinda made me a bit uneasy. Once he walked away, I spotted something on the ground where I bumped into Hillenburg. It was a videotape. It did not have anything of discernible title, nor anything remotely close to what the video was about. No sticker. Nothing inside the film protector. Anyways, I picked it up and ran very quickly out of the lot. About a week later, after my initial journey by plane back to Chicago, I remembered that I still had the tape. Seeing that I had a VHS DVD burner that I got for Christmas last year, I decided to get a blank DVD-R disc and put it in the DVD side of the burner and the video inside the VHS side. After about 30 minutes or so, it popped out the disc and video. I think that's what they're supposed to do when the disc is done burning. Anyway, I popped the DVD into my computer. Autoplay popped up, of course, because I modified my PC to do so. I decided to take a look at what was in the folder. It was a movie file that went by the name of Pearl.avi. Pearl. I then double-clicked the movie file as Windows Media Center popped up. Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain! It was a SpongeBob episode. I thought to myself, oh, I haven't seen this show in so long. SpongeBob was one of my favorite shows as a 10-year-old, and having the nasally laughter of the sponge would make my ears absolutely sing with joy. Well, metaphorically, of course. So the title of the episode came up. I noticed something odd. There was no title to the episode. It just skips right into the episode. It showed the three things I knew and loved about SpongeBob. The three main houses, the pineapple, the Eastern Island head, and the rock with the antenna on it. I smiled with nostalgia as I heard SpongeBob's laughter echoing through the computer speakers. SpongeBob was watching a television show on his little diver helmet TV. About 5 seconds after that scene transitions into SpongeBob's house, and Pearl, Mr. Krabs' daughter, bursts through SpongeBob's door, breaking the door down as she does so. She's seen sobbing hysterically in a comedic manner. Many waterfalls were coming out of her eyes. SpongeBob walks over and asks Pearl, "What's wrong?" Pearl replies, "Oh, SpongeBob, it's terrible. Daddy won't talk to me. He hasn't said a single word to me all day. He just sits in his bedroom looking down at the floor sighing." SpongeBob replies back to her in a bit of a heroic way. "Mr. Krabs, that seems weird. Don't worry, Pearl. I'll go talk to him." "I'm not." "You will, SpongeBob?" Pearl replies, with a looking of happiness on her face. SpongeBob then nods. Pearl is seen hugging SpongeBob and saying, "Thank you, SpongeBob. You're the coolest," or coolest, whatever. The screen transitions with the bubbles coming up to SpongeBob nearing the giant anchor that Mr. Krabs and Pearl live in, saying, "Cool, huh? Cha-cha." And you hear a jazz trumpet chorus playing a chord as SpongeBob is seen doing a comedically cool stance and look. He then knocks on Mr. Krabs' door. We then see Mr. Krabs' claw quickly grab SpongeBob and pull him into his house. "SpongeBob, me boy, I'm glad you're here. I have to tell you about something." "What is it, Mr. Krabs?" SpongeBob asks. It's It's about Pearl. You see, she's SpongeBob, confused by Mr. Krabs' stammering, asks, "She's what, Mr. Krabs?" A grim look comes upon Mr. Krabs' face. "She's adopted me, boy." SpongeBob gasped. "Adopted?" A claw grabs SpongeBob's lips as they are seen being comedically stretched forward. "She might be out there. Now listen to me, boy. I want you to tell her she is adopted. I just can't do it." Tears began to well up in Mr. Krabs' eyes. "I just can't." SpongeBob looked shocked at this. But Mr. Krabs, I can't do that. It'll break her fragile heart." "SpongeBob, that's an order," Mr. Krabs says with sadness and frustration in his eyes. "Yes, sir," said SpongeBob while he saluted and began to run out, panting. I, at this point, was starting to get a bit uneasy. This wasn't the SpongeBob SquarePants I knew back in the day. This was something else, something more adult. Now, even though I like more adult stuff, this episode just made me really uneasy. Telling someone they're adopted is not an easy task. Trust me. Hard results will when it's told to you by means of someone those parents told you to tell that person. The last time I had to do that, I had to coax someone out of committing suicide. Anyways, back to the episode. The screen transitions again back to SpongeBob's house, where Pearl is seen sniffling as SpongeBob pops his head into the busted doorway. Pearl looks up and immediately is overjoyed to see SpongeBob. "SpongeBob," she calls out with an excited tone, "did you find out why Daddy won't talk to me?" SpongeBob says timidly as he clears his throat, "Yes, I did." Pearl says in a concerned tone, "What's wrong, SpongeBob?" We then hear SpongeBob's thoughts. What do I do? Should I tell her, or should I lie to Mr. Krabs? No. Lying won't do a thing. Mr. Krabs would probably dock my pay to half a penny a day if I did that. This made me do a small chuckle as I knew Mr. Krabs is a cheapskate. My chuckle fell silent as I heard SpongeBob just outright say, "Pearl, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're adopted." Pearl's eyes widened, and both SpongeBob and I cringed. And I heard a laugh coming from the computer speakers. It was Pearl's laugh. "That's a good one, SpongeBob, but really, why won't Daddy talk to me?" "Pearl, it's the truth. Mr. Krabs had me come over here to tell you." "What? No, you're lying." Pearl then slaps SpongeBob very realistically and storms out of the house. We then see Pearl walking up to the front doors with tears in her eyes, furious as she pushes open the door forcefully. She sees her father and holding back tears. "Daddy, please tell me this is not true. Please tell me SpongeBob is lying." Mr. Krabs begins to tear up. In a shaky voice tells Pearl, "Yes, this is true. When you were a baby and while I was out scrounging around with me metal detector near the outskirts of Bikini Bottom looking for loose change, I stumbled upon you and your mother, or what was left of her after the scalps got to her." It then transitions to a flashback scene, which to this day makes me cringe. It showed Pearl's mother, eyes gouged out with one hanging, her tongue out and somewhat chewed off, her fins only bone, her ribcage skin ripped off, revealing decayed muscle, and her throat had a hole in it showing the larynx, windpipe, and esophagus. I turned away at this point, still listening. I found your mother laying there, morbidly decayed. When I heard crying coming from nearby, the crying was you. It looked like you had just come out of your mother. I scooped you up, took you home, and cleaned you up. I kept you around for a good 16 years. I felt it were better to tell you now, when you're old enough to understand. I started crying at this precise point. This just became too adult. Too real for the happy little show I used to know and love. I wanted to click the exit button in the top right corner, but I just could not turn away. Pearl ran out crying. Not the comedic tears either. This looked realistic, almost human. "SpongeBob, me boy, go after her. These tiny legs won't catch up. Please, boyo." SpongeBob noticed and began to nod and began to run after Pearl, calling her name. Pearl began to run faster, and SpongeBob began to struggle keeping up with her. Pearl stopped at the top of a high coral cliff. turned around and told SpongeBob, "Stop." She put Finn out. "Do you know what it's like to not know your mother? To be with some creepy crustacean all your life thinking he's your dad, even though you two look completely different? I mean, how can a crab have a whale for a child?" Pearl's voice was getting very shaky. She was ready to start sobbing uncontrollably. "I don't think you do. To be lied all your life, to not know your true family? I don't want to be lied anymore." Pearl then began to proceed to fall backwards into the seemingly endless chasm. SpongeBob yelled out, "Wait, Pearl!" and ran down the cliff slope where he had just ran after Pearl. He ran as fast as he could, but could not get down to the bottom in time before he heard a loud, disgusting crack. I even cringed at the sound. It sounded like a bone snapping in two. As SpongeBob approaches Pearl, she's seen face up with her head violently pushed to the side. Her neck had snapped right in two. Her eyes were gray-blue now and were about as soulless as any person who had succumbed to death. SpongeBob walked up to her silently, his shoes no longer making the, iconic squeaking sound. He dropped to his knees, realistically, next to her corpse and began to cry humanly and uncontrollably. He hugged the corpse, looked up to the sky, and said, "Why, Neptune? She was too young. Why?" This caused me to sob right along with SpongeBob. This episode cuts to black and was finished. I couldn't believe this. Why would Hillenberg make such a depressing episode? I went to bed after this. The next day after coming home from work, I planned to extract the episode onto my hard drive and put it on YouTube in 2 parts. It was a 15-minute episode, of course. When I got home, I saw everything was a mess. Papers were everywhere, my television was gone, my PC and its accompanying tower, mouse, and any USB I had in it were gone, and my VHS and to DVD burn were gone too. "Oh shit, I've been robbed. Where's the video? Where is it?" I said as I began to look for the video that contained the episode. I couldn't find it. That was the only VHS tape I had in my possession, and I guess the robbers figured it'd be worth money. I kind of looked up I figured it as well too. So suffice to say, I'm unable to provide a video of this source. I apologize and hope you all heed my warning of picking up any strange tape in the famous studio after bumping into a famous cartoon writer. I don't think anyone will be seeing this as Suicide Mouse.avi was planned up on YouTube. Once again, let this story be a warning to picking up strange tapes. You'll never know what you're going to end up watching. Wow, that was something. Now, I'm quite surprised how the suicide aspect and depression, that definitely reminds me of the other 2 SpongeBob Lost episodes I read, which were Squidward's suicide and Plankton Gets Served. Those 2 characters committed suicide in those Lost episodes, and Pearl committed suicide in this Lost episode. So it kind of makes sense that, when you're going through depression, or if you find out you're adopted, it's really not an easy task for someone to tell you that, because it would just tear you down. Now, the only cliche I have to say about this is, the dead whale, gore cliche. I mean, seriously, describing the dead mother whale, that kind of made me cringe a little bit. But I was like, yeah, it's just a cartoon, but then again, you never know what you can pick up at if you bump into someone. It's true. Now, I made a voting poll on what will be a next creepypasta, and it might be Milo Pony Cupcakes, the truth about Milo Pony, the truth about Teletubbies, or the truth about SpongeBob. It's probably up to your choice. Just leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll do that creepypasta for you. Anyways, this has been another episode of Creepypasta Rings. If you like it, and feel free to leave a comment in the section below of what creepypasta you want me to do next. Gaming or non-gaming creepypastas, that is. This is Geoffrey Samborski, and I am out.